Good morning, everybody. Joe here, budgetboss.ca. It is Tuesday. It is January the 19th. And I'm jumping on to talk about the post I released yesterday about RRSPs. We are in RRSP season. That's your Registered Retirement Savings Plan. And I want to release a post to sort of clear the air about why RRSPs are important, what they are, what they do, what you should think about during this RRSP season, or if you already have an RRSP, what you should backtrack and take a look at. But first things first, I want you to like, subscribe, and comment on this post. If you are on IG, double tap that screen, share the post, and on Facebook, make sure you like Budget Boss. The handle is @RealBudgetBoss across all the platforms, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and of course, Instagram. So like, subscribe, share, follow, tell a friend, because the population within Budget Boss is growing. Over 23,000 people followed on Facebook, and I was voted last year top 25 financial mind in Canada, which I hope to continue along with this year. Let's get in the top 10. That's my goal for the year. Let's get in the top 10. So let's jump right into the post. This is my guide to RRSP season for 2021. And if you do not know, now you know. The actual date for RRSP contributions is March 1st. So that is the deadline. That is where you can receive your tax deduction for the previous year, 2020. Does anyone remember that year? I don't remember that year. Didn't exist, did it? But tax-wise, you're still going to have to pay. So let's take a look at RRSPs, what they are, what they do, what they can do for you, and what you should do about your RRSP if you have one or you're thinking about having one. First things first, right into the basics. 1957, the RRSP, Registered Retirement Savings Plan. If you are in America, this is your 401k or IRA retirement plan. This is what you are trying to save for your retirement with. It was created for self-employed people to actually save for their retirement. Back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, a lot of people had that full ride pension. So these are those rock solid pensions that you hear about that they don't really exist as much anymore because they're very, very expensive. It is called a defined benefit pension. This is where you work your whole life, and at the end of your career, you get this money every month. That is your full ride pension. Government workers still have it. Unionized workers still have it. These are the people that have those full ride pensions. Those are fading away as time goes on. So this is what the government instituted to help self-employed people. As the defined benefit pension faded away, as it became too expensive and people became living longer, the RRSP gained popularity. It also gained popularity because of the tax benefits within it. So I'm going to speak about the tax benefits within the RRSP first, because this is the most sexy part of it that people really, really like. So let's talk about that for a minute. Any contribution you make into your RRSP is made with what's called pre-tax dollars. So this is money you have not been taxed on yet. Now, this confuses some people because what happens is if you're getting tax taken off your paycheck all the time and you're putting money into your RRSP, that means you've paid tax on this money, but what will then occur is you get a refund. So your refund will come when you file your taxes the next year, because hypothetically, if you paid, say, $60,000, but you contributed $5,000 to your RRSP, in the eyes of the government, you only made $55,000. So this is why you get that refund every year, because technically you paid too much tax. So the issue with it is that this is pre-tax dollars. Where the tax comes into play is later in life when you start drawing from your RRSP. When you start taking from your RRSP, you're going to be paying tax on that as income. The whole purpose of the RRSP is to not pay tax on it during your highest earning years. So while you're working, logically, you are going to be making more money than when you're retired. Seems to make sense, doesn't it? So that's why you want to kick the tax can down the road, pay it later in life when your income is lower. Hopefully your expenses are lower then as well. So this is what's called tax deferment. It is a tax deferred account. The second part of it that is also pretty cool is that growth within the RRSP, like a tax-free savings account, isn't taxed on an annual basis. This is what's called tax deferred as well. So it pushes the tax can down the road and then charges it as income later in life. So your growth within this account is sheltered no matter how much it grows. It can grow double, triple, whatever, which is really difficult to do in any given year, but over time it's very, very reasonable for it to happen. So what you want is this tax shelter growth to really start working for you. The RRSP is a great place, like the tax-free savings account, where you can put money in, see the taxable growth. Unlike the TFSA, though, you get that tax deduction every year when you put money into your RRSP. The government created this to incentivize you to save for your retirement. Basically, it's your nice little tax break to help you save for your retirement. So growth, again, I mentioned that growth is tax deferred. How you go about making it grow? Well, you have to be invested properly. And your RRSP can hold a variety of investments, like your tax-free savings account. Your RRSP can hold stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs, index funds. This account can hold a variety of different investments. There are a few that it cannot hold because of tax purposes. So what you want to do is make sure that you're invested in something that's, first of all, allowed within the RRSP, which is many, many things. But second of all, that can grow over time because it's tax sheltered. So growth is the key component, the key thing you want from this account. And I see far too many RRSPs that are not invested for long-term growth. And this is troubling to me. So that's why I'm making these posts and I share portfolios and I talk about portfolios. It's an important thing to me. So make sure your account is growing. Limits. The limit for your RRSP, unlike the tax-free savings account, is based on your income. So the maximum you can contribute every year is 18%. But there's a threshold on that. You can't make $1 million a year and put $180,000 into it. The most you could put into your RRSP account last year, or 2019, is $26,500. Every year this goes up a little bit because the government indexes this amount for inflation. But $26,500 is a great amount. What that means is you're making a good income and dumping a lot into your RRSP. Most people fall well short of this. Withdrawals. Taking money out is taxed, whether you take it out in retirement or you're taking it out now. You are essentially penalized by taking out of your RRSP too early. If you take it out in your working years, you're going to pay tax on that money. Full tax. So the tax that you did save, you're now paying. So you got to be careful if you're withdrawing from your RRSP too early. That should be one of the last places you take money out. Honestly, the only reason to take money out of it is if the doo-doo is essentially hit the fan and you gotta do it. Other than that, leave it there for growth. You have to start taking out your RRSP at the age of 71. At that point, you can roll it into what's called a RIF, a Registered Retirement Income Fund, and this allows you to withdraw money. You have a minimum amount that you have to withdraw. It starts at around 5% and it declines over time, or grows over time, Also, you can roll it into what's called an annuity. An annuity is basically a personal pension that you could put your money into that gives you a prescribed amount, hands off, don't have to think about it, gives you interest on this money. Most people go for the RIF route, or the Registered Retirement Income Fund, because it gives them more flexibility, allows them to take more money out, and it also allows them to choose their investment options, unlike an annuity. But you have to at the age of 71, unlike the TFSA. So with your RRSP, your goal is to make sure you're making less money in retirement than you will be now. People with pensions really need to think about contributing to an RRSP, because if you have a defined benefit pension still, and this is your hospital workers, these are your unionized workers, these are your people that work for the government, usually have a defined benefit pension still in these times, really consider putting into an RRSP, because you might be making just as much money in retirement and all you're doing is kicking the can down the road. So what we want to do is make sure that we're not over contributing to an RRSP if we think our income in retirement could be high. Two other caveats to the RRSP we need to think about: the home buyer's plan. So the government will allow you to take out $35,000 for your first home. So if you are purchasing your first home, you can withdraw from your RRSP, but this is considered a loan. You have to pay it back over the course of the next 15 years, starting 1 year after you make the withdrawal. So technically 16 years, that loan from your own account has to be paid back. The reason it's a loan is because you received your tax deduction right? And they're not disqualifying you from that tax deduction. Technically, if you took that 35 grand out of your RSP and you didn't use the home buyer's plan, you would pay tax on that full amount. So what you want to do is utilize it for the home buyer's plan and then pay it back as soon as you can or over time. It's an open contribution amount. You have to contribute annually on it, or you will be taxed on the contribution you should have made that year. So 1/16 of the loan you took out. What you want to make sure is that you're paying that back as quick as possible, or do it over, make it manageable for you as well. You will not receive a tax deduction on the money you put in to repay your RSP home buyer's plan loan. So watch out for that. If you have a spouse, the two of you can utilize this plan and take up to $70,000 out, 35 from each of you. So it's a very valuable plan, and it allows you to keep the tax deduction that you made, not pay tax on your withdrawal, and then pay it back as slow or as quick as you want, obviously within that 15-year time window. The next one's a lifelong learning plan. So the government will allow you to take out $20,000 from your RSP to further your education. $10,000 maximum per year, and you have to pay this back within 10 years. Same concept as the home buyer's plan, but you do not get taxed on the withdrawal, and you do not gain taxable deductions based on your contributions to repay the loan. Okay? Perfect. So here's the styles. Lots of styles of RSPs. The first most common one is the group RSP. So this is the one where your workplace may offer you what's called a company match. For instance, you get 3% taken off your paycheck. Your employer will match that 3%, topping it up to 6%. So this is a group RSP. So this is where you and everyone you work with are pooled together, put your RSP money together, and your employer actually matches what your contributions are. Now, there may or may not be a match, but usually there is a match, because there's really no point in opening a group RSP if there is no match. The second type that I'm going to talk about is spousal RSP. So oftentimes, spousal RSP, the person who makes the higher income will dump money into the lower spouse's RSP to get them that tax deduction if the lower income spouse has RSP room. That's the huge issue with it. So you want to make sure that if you open up a spousal RSP, I see this with clients of mine that where one spouse has a dramatically different income than the other spouse, they'll dump money into the spouse's RSP, and what that does is it tops up their overall RSP contribution room and allows them to put more money in. So this is one of the added benefits of the RSP that the government has instituted, so spouses can work together for a successful retirement. The benefits. I already mentioned the benefits of open RSP, but let's take a look at some numbers here. Everyone just wants to know numbers. Numbers are what's important. So let's just say hypothetically you make an annual income of $60,000. Your annual taxes owed is about $14,000. Now, if you put 5% of your $60,000 into your RSP on an annual basis, that means you are saving $3,000 a year into your RSP. You will, by putting this $3,000 in, save $890 in tax. So essentially, your $2,110 was your money. The other $890 was savings in tax. So this is where it's very valuable, because you're saving for your future, but you're also saving money on tax, and the government is helping you do that by doing that. So if you put 10%, $6,000 is the total save. Obviously, 10% is $60,000, and 10%, $6,000 saved, $1,779 in taxes saved. That's pretty cool. And if you are very ambitious and you're putting the 18% in, you are going to be saving $10,800 a year, but $3,200 of that is in taxes saved. Pretty amazing. That's the real benefit of it. The government is incentivizing you to actually put money into your savings account and save for your retirement. Pretty cool. Now, let's just take a look at those numbers. You think, okay, well, I'm only putting $3,000 a year. What could that be for me? So I'll give you the example of 8% annual interest. Now, if you track the stock market, you might think, okay, I might not get 8%. Well, my portfolio is this year, my advanced portfolio, which is for long-term clients saving for their retirement or their future, or just saving 5 or more years down the road, achieve 15.52%. So don't tell me that you can't get 8. But at the same time, the goal is to get roughly 8%. If you overachieve it, great. If you do not, okay, you need to relook that. I'm constantly checking this out. So let's just base this on 8%. If you put $3,000 into your RRSP, getting 8% interest compounded on an annual basis, after 30 years, you will have $359,129.08 cents. This is money for your retirement. So you could look at that as age 35 to 65. You can retire at age 65 with $360,000 roughly. If you put $6,000 annually, logically it's going to double. So you will have $718,000, $249.79 at the age of retirement. And if you are that ambitious person that I mentioned earlier, and you put the full 18% whammo into your retirement savings plan, you will have $1.2 million in your RRSP. $1,292,849.61 when you are ready to retire. Amazing, amazing stuff. And this is where time is really on your side. If you're putting money into a retirement savings plan, 30 years, huge money. If you look at the difference between 20 years and 30 years, it's those last 10 years that really ramp it up. And if you got 40 years, you're way ahead of the game. Let's look at what that does for us. You're like, okay, well, I got $1.2 million. What can I do with that? What's the point? I giving you an example of 30 years in retirement. So let's say hypothetically you retire at age 65. This is money that you do not want to outlive. You don't want to outlive your money. So 30 years, 65 to 95 years old, gaining 4% interest because we've scaled back the aggressiveness in retirement. So half of what we want to get while we're working. You're not going to be fully invested in aggressive funds when you're retired. It's not wise, in my opinion. So if you have that $359,000 starting off your retirement, that's saving $3,000 for 30 years, you will provide yourself with another $20,000 in retirement income for the next 30 years. If you have the $718,000, which means you save $6,000 a year, you will have $41,000 income in retirement. Pretty amazing. If you have that $1.2 million in retirement at age 65, this is that ambitious person that is fully maxing out their RSP for 30 years, you will have an income of $74,000 for 30 years in retirement. You couple that with government benefits, and I provided links to this. Canada Pension Plan, Old Age Security should give you, if you are maxed out, which most people aren't, but let's just say you get the average, which is roughly $15,000. Annually from these government programs, you will provide yourself with quite a nice retirement if you are ambitious with saving within your RRSP. So this is where it gets really attractive, really sexy, where you can save a lot of money, add in the government benefits. If you're only living on the government benefits in retirement, you are living in a pretty bad situation. That is not a lot of money, but you add in your personal retirement money as well. It actually blends into quite a successful retirement. The big picture. The big thing about RSPs is that they're not for everyone, and I want people to fully understand exactly what I mean by that. RSP money is that you put into it should be considered gone. You put it in, it's gone. It doesn't exist to you anymore. You want it out of your life. The reason being is because you are penalized for taking it out. You're going to get taxed when you take the money out. So I want you to put this money away and keep it away. The reason being is because this is meant for a specific purpose, your retirement. And if you have that mindset, the RSP is an amazing place to put your money because you just set it and forget it. I want to take this one step to compare the TFSA into the RSP or versus the RSP. This question comes up all the time to me. People are wondering, should I put in a TFSA, a tax-free savings account, or an RSP? The answer is not that simple. The TFSA has only been on the scene since 2009. The only real purpose to put in the RSP is to get that tax deduction, and if you are heading into retirement with less income than you will during your working years, meaning you don't have a pension or you don't have an income stream in retirement other than government benefits. The TFSA is a great place to start, and this is why I feel everyone should have a TFSA, and it should be everyone's goal to max out their TFSA. The reason being is because your TFSA money can always transition into your RSP. The TFSA as well, you regain contribution room every year in January 1st, but your RSP, once you take money out of it, you lose that contribution room forever. But the RSP contribution room carries forward. So if you don't make an RSP contribution this year, you can do it next year, and it adds up over time. So you'll build up this RSP room over time, and if you keep maxing out your tax-free savings account and have extra money to dump in, you can dump it into your RSP. Another way to do it is to actually save money within the RSP and then use that as your retirement savings account, and that's what a lot of people are doing. It really just depends on what your goals are. If you make a higher income, the RSP definitely becomes a bit more sexy because you want to bring that income down. Obviously, the more money you put into RSP, the bigger tax deduction you get. So for me, people making under $50,000 a year or so, really RSP is not that important. The big thing about it though is if you have the company match, you always take the company match. This is free money. If you are getting 3% of your income matched from your employer, you have doubled your retirement output. And there is no investment I can show you that will double every year. The match is doubling your money for free. This is an amazing thing. Now, beyond that point, you have to really weigh your options. But if you're getting 3% match, do the 3%. If you're getting 8, do the 8. If you're doing 5, get the 5. Take the free money, and then once you've maxed it out, make sure that you're investing as well. Some money on the side. That could be another RSP. More than likely, it will be your tax-free savings account as well. So I want people to fully understand that. I want people to understand why they have an RSP and what they're invested in. Another big factor with the RSP is that I want people to be invested properly. So you should be putting your money into this account, looking for some high long-term growth. It shouldn't be sitting there in cash, even worse GICs when you're first starting off. And in fact, even when you're in retirement, investing in GICs is quite problematic because you're at the whim of these GICs that actually have to come due for you to access your money. And GIC rates are very bad right now. You could actually utilize a conservative profile and do much better. In fact, my conservative profile in 2020 did about 6.5%. So that in itself is better than a GIC rate, which right now is offering about 0.3%. So I want you to fully understand that. So that's my post on RSP. If you have an RSP and you want it reviewed, or you want to weigh your options before the deadline on March 1st, shoot me a message. The email is joe@budgetboss.ca, or slide into the DMs. Shoot me a message on Facebook, IG, even Twitter, or you can go to the website and book a meeting, budgetboss.ca/contact. So last things last, that's my post on RRSPs. I want to talk about today is the final day of Donnie Boy Donald Trump's presidency. And yesterday was Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So it's almost fitting that we actually are dropping one piece of trash after celebrating one of the great American patriots and actually a worldwide patriot. As we transition out of this era of Donald Trump, I want people to start thinking about exactly what just occurred. I want people to start thinking about this in terms of their money. The big thing about Trump that was displayed, and I personally am no fan of his. If you know me, I really dislike the guy. But what I really want is that this man was proclaiming that he could save people. He can make their life better. And the one thing that we need to realize is that no politician will ever make our life better. He was a snake oil salesman. He was actually a very horrible person in my opinion. But on that, the things that he promised were something that no one can accomplish. That raises red flags in my eyes. So anytime a politician says they're going to make your life better or actually change things for you, they're lying. It's a straight up lie. No president, prime minister, leader, premier, mayor, counselor can make your life better. Only you can make your life better. And if you take all the steps that I show you on a regular basis, and I have been for almost 4 you will put yourself in place where the politicians that come in that are selling whatever the hell they're going to doesn't matter to you. None of it matters to you. You vote your heart and you vote for people less fortunate than you. You should not vote for someone to make your life better. And that's what he said from the get-go. He said him and only him can make his life better or your life better. And look how that turned out. So I want to say peace out, Donnie. You're not going to be missed. I don't like you. I hope you end up in handcuffs, but if you don't, that's okay too. Life goes on. We are going to be fine. So know that. Come tomorrow, the world is going to change. We are going to drop that, and I want everyone who's all riled up, all focused on this nonsense, all focused on this garbage that really means nothing for our lives, to drop it and start focusing on the things that actually matter, such as saving for your retirement, building up a nest egg, getting out of debt, and actually taking care of the ones around you. Ultimate goal. Save your money, build up for retirement. And what you're going to do in that period of time as well is you might not even know it, but you're going to build a legacy that you can leave to the people that you love. And that is what it's all about. These people talking all this nonsense, they come and go. What you do and the things that you do to make your life better will stay. So, peace out, Donnie. You guys have an amazing day. I want you to like, subscribe, follow. If you're on IG, double tap that screen, share it, and go on Facebook and like the page as well. Over 23,000 people did it, so I want you to do it too. Have a great day, guys. Peace.